Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today we're finishing up dealing with Europe in our Germany campaign. Unfortunately the first video is kind of like select, I don't know why. Once again I'm going to be talking about a video about how YouTube decides to selective stuff. But anyways, let's just get straight into the video. We're already here. We took out Poland last time, we got all of our stuff. Italy's kind of failing. We need to take France and everyone else, take out, all the Balkans and the Baltics, just kind of doing stuff. Yeah. You need to probably train a bit more army. This is just my French army right here. Yeah. Yeah, French border. That's just those divisions. We're all good there. Just wanted to recap everything. We got our infantry division. We're gonna end up eventually having a bunch of different things on it, like the heavy flame tanks, logistics company, and the armored recon. Doing a bunch of research, just showing that I've got everything. In case this is the first time you're watching, it's really nothing special. Just taking out Poland. We're about to take out Lithuania as soon as we can. When we're done with Panzer Grenadier, we're gonna go through expand claims in the Baltics, and then probably around Maginot and Operation Wurzburg. Then continue the army stuff. Probably get down to logistics stuff. Make sure Panzer Grenadier is done because it'll help us with our mechanized pretty quickly. We have a bunch of options, to just do a bunch of expanding of our puppets. We can do gold reserves once we have consumer goods far enough down from our economy of conquest. I'm not going to really do anything with the labor services, just increases construction speed. We don't care about political actions because we're going to have stability. Resources is fine, whatever. Right now our focus is just trying to get the Baltics before the Soviets can, and they got all that stuff done. Research is kind of getting hard to do now, but because of that focus we just did, mechanized is going to be quicker. And we're going to expand claims in the Baltics. Okay, so we're just going to continue with our industry. I think we're going to actually change our normal divisions into good divisions. It's typically considered a beginner's mistake to try to make all-round good divisions. And we do have a bit of deficit, so maybe we won't. But it's kind of nice to have really strong generic infantry divisions at the same time. So we're going to go with that. And we will be making a nice tank division, but we need to actually get the good stuff for that. And right now we're just focusing on trying to take out all of Europe. We're going to wait for Britain though, even though we have a navy. We're building a nicer navy. We just have the old navy, so we're just going to keep the old navy, weak guy, and then we're going to have the subs. Keep the subs into 16 groups out of like 10 or whatever. And then we'll have more subs and destroyers into another group. We'll have the newer stuff go into the new group where we can have our ultimate fleet, or fleets. Or probably going to end up getting like battlefield interdiction, considering that it's good. But although the continuous strike is pretty nice, but I think just battlefield I think battlefield interdiction would just be better for extra ground attack factor. See, we already have pretty good air. We're probably going to end up just going over Italy and getting lots of kills. Yeah, see, we're already getting pretty good ratio. And we don't even have lots of very good planes. They have more, and the others are worse. That's probably why. And I don't even have, like, insane planes. I could probably be doing it way better. And we're getting also cast damage for Italy. This weakens France a lot. So yeah, weakening France and Britain because of air and then getting cast damage. It's very important, making sure you're trading the enemy out in the air very effectively. Especially against the AI that builds bad planes. Then again, when you're doing cast damage, you're going to lose a lot of planes yourself. So another problem that you're going to face, especially if you don't keep your navy out the whole time, is Germany, which is not a great idea. You're going to need ASW, which is just depth charges. And I have those already on my destroyers. just so I can deal with submarines at any time. It's pretty nice to have them rather than the extra torpedo attack. And yeah, I'll just send out my weak group of destroyers, or just single, and to try to go on convoy escort, which will help with trying to reduce casualties in convoys. And this is exactly my point. We destroyed like 8 subs or 6 subs, whatever, and with one destroyer. So yeah, it all works out, especially if you have multiple groups with multiple sets of destroyers with ASW. Okay, so spies are actually really important if you have the DLC for it. Spies help a lot with reducing enemy entrenchment and planning if you have them in a country. That, and they can do a lot of other things, but I don't really have the time to build up things like collaboration government, which gives compliance when you take them, and then also the increased rate of which they capitulate. I'm not really after that, especially because it takes a lot of time and costs. As Germany, you want to be quick and efficient. Still doing really good in the air, getting research. Talk when I can attack the Baltics. Okay, so I just started researching heavy tanks, and then I'm gonna do my next focus now that I'm done with the expand claims in the Baltics. I'm gonna do around Maginot just to make it so I can get through France quicker, and then we can do the Operation Wittenberg after, even though it was that historically first for these two. Thinking about it logically, actually, we're going to need a coastline division for when Britain decides to naval invade, or America, depending. So what we need to do is just have a Coast Guard division designed. It's nothing much, it's just weak stats, but it's good for defense, really, especially with Engineer Company and the artillery. All it's really for. And we can just name the division, like Coast Guard or whatever. Okay, so I just brought my air over, which is a good thing to remember. Air superiority gives you a bonus in combat, and cast damage is very strong. So declare war on Lithuania first, and we're just going to instantly melt their divisions. Melting is just a term for making their organization go down fairly quickly. We do way more attack, and we have more divisions actually attacking than them. So they're just kind of gone. Yeah, immediately taking them out. Encircling most of their army. Oh, and now we're gonna go after Latvia. So just quickly get the third spy on there just cuz, and then we can go on and declare war. Make sure we have ready, but we're probably actually gonna get planning bonus. That's a good thing. Planning bonus is very important because it increases your stats by the percent of planning bonus. That's why a lot of people decide to go with a grand battle plan as their doctrine rather than like mobile warfare, which is what Germany has. Grand Battle Plan allows for a lot more planning, which allows you to have a lot more stats in battle. Yeah, we're just going to go into Latvia, and we're just going to kind of destroy them. Yeah, they have no country left, no army. And we get all of that stuff kind of done for us once we get around Maginot done. Start thinking about special forces, especially Marines for Operation Windsburg for Norway and Denmark. Okay, we just got spies and did planning bonus on Estonia, so now we can get Estonia. And these are very minor countries that you can easily take out as Germany, even without my extra good infantry that have extra stats just for being in terrain. Which is an easy strat to use. You can not have the equipment for something and still use it to get the bonuses. You just don't have that strength and kind of lose a little stats. Yeah, I'm going to create another empty and then start making a cavalry because I've realized that I have been using my good divisions for garrison. And you want to have a cheap, cost-effective thing for garrisoning, because then you can have high suppression, which is how you deal with resistance, and then you can do it without using your good equipment. In fact, I was looking for military police as a support company, which increases suppression, but you can't. A thing that you can use is armored cars, because they're far better than cavalry, but they actually take a lot more to actually make the divisions. But yeah, see, now we can switch it to cavalry. We're going to need less divisions, and it's going to take less actual equipment. We're actually going to go down to local police force because it gives a lot of bonuses to extra compliance gain. Even though it has the negative red for compliance, it's a lesser number. Granted, resistance will increase because the amount decreasing is lessened, but we're keeping them managed and they're getting compliance, and compliance will help with making sure that they lose resistance over time, and then we get more of their industry and their population to use for our own good. Now we're going to end up moving the Air Force and going to the lowlands, and I'll come back when we are attacking them. Okay, we have the army ready at the Netherlands. We got the air over. We're going to declare war, but only the Netherlands. We don't want to do Belgium yet, because if we get too much for us to handle, it will be bad. That often happens if you're not good. You will end up taking way more than you can chew. Even with the lowlands being really nice for odd attacking, it can still be pretty hard in Belgium, especially because the French will help fairly quickly. Alright, so we're about to take the Netherlands, you know, just nice and easy. Yeah, and then we're going to go for Belgium once we get the line on them going. Once again, we don't have to move the air because we already have the air there, and we already have spies going on them, so their ability to defend will be significantly decreased. Okay, so now we're just going to declare war on Belgium. It'll be pretty quick and easy. Yeah, we just melt right through the divisions. Now, something we're going to do. It's actually very smart to do this, so the situation where you get stuck in Belgium doesn't happen. I'm going to make sure we're kind of paused. Yeah. We're going to end up splitting our divisions to attack the French as they're trying to leave through the Maginot. The goal of this isn't to defeat them in the Maginot Line. It's to stop them from supplying Belgium with new troops. When you stop them, even if it's for a couple days, those couple days of halting them allows you to just break through the harder points of Belgium that they keep fortified and defended, and then simply just, bam, you're right on the French border, and you can take Paris and win the war in Europe, essentially. You just can't not win when you take France and Belgium and the Netherlands. You push through. I'm just trying to get my air in so we can get extra cast damage, which will help with me conserving equipment, and then actually save men too. Even though men won't be a problem, it's still nice to keep as much as you can, especially for things like the Soviet Union. Okay, oh, and wow, we got ripped off. Italy, really? Okay, well, I guess we'll establish Vichy France. Might be a stupid idea, might not. It's a shame that Italy got all that land in France. I don't know why that happens, but we'll be good. I guess we can continue with demanding Slovenia, try to get Yugoslavia and all that. Okay, so we're gonna go a little unorthodox, considering that I did a breaking of the treaty for less consumer goods. So we're gonna end up just taking out Hungary. Probably gonna end up taking Romania. We're gonna bring the air over. I'm gonna go for like the more evil Germany, taking out everyone rather than having little allies. I'm more than competent enough. If you can increase relations with Romania and Hungary to try to get them to join your faction, or even just increase their fascism, that's more than up to you. But yeah, we're just getting ready to take out Denmark and Luxembourg and other such. Yeah, just declare war on Luxembourg and we'll take out their like 2 divisions in a day, as long as my divisions decide to actually attack. Yeah, and see, we already took their capital, they're just dead. Okay, so now we're just going to take on Denmark. Denmark's really easy, like, it can be kind of difficult if you don't know how to get to the capital, and you're just taking land that you need to go by water. What you need to do is just snake out faster divisions. Snaking meaning just driving through their land as much as you can, and as fast as you can. You just take those snake divisions and you try to go for key points. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have the motorized kind of go around and just take as much as it can. And then once those other divisions decide to start taking land back, we're gonna end up having everything just go to this front. Like the tanks probably aren't going to be very good in river crossings and all that. They should be able to manage either way. And the infantry can just take the north where a lot of their casual victory points are, which would lead to them ending up capitulating. So we are going to start making our coast guard now that we have Italy controlling most of France now. Should be us, but whatever. We're going to have our coastline guarded because we know that Britain is going to like it naval invading. And while they're going to do probably a couple attempted mini D-Days before the 1940s in the middle, it's going to end up having a big one around the middle. So we're going to make sure that we are prepared. And they will keep doing their attempted major D-Days, even without America. America really doesn't like naval invading a whole lot, unless it's in two very secure places. That's just what the AI does. We're also going to probably want to make sure that we have air over places that are getting bombed. Also, I really want to try to get this land back, but I probably won't. Italy's pretty stubborn, and we might end up just kicking them from the faction and then taking them out. Yeah, they denied it. Whatever. Okay, well, we're just going to go for Hungary now. There's no point in not doing it, especially because when you manually justify, you get a limited amount of time. So you might as well use the political power that you use to justify. You got all of our air here, and they're just going to be a nice walk in the park. Probably a little bit harder than like Latvia and Estonia and all that, but it'll still be pretty easy, especially if you've got a good army. And the resources don't even really matter. It's just having the control, especially if the Allies decide to turn them against me in any way. We've got everything we need now. And we're going to go for Romania, and then probably Yugoslavia. It's going to justify war goal, 25 days. Get that stuff done. Okay, so now we're going to start producing a heavy tank for our actual main battle tanks. We're not really going to go for anything that's fast or anything like that. We're just going to try to go for a heavy hitting, heavily armored. That's just my kind of role. You guys can try to go for a little bit faster, or use medium tanks, which is considered like the meta, because medium tanks are much more versatile and are all around. I personally just like heavy tanks. We're probably going to try to get dozer blades and all that, just to make sure that we have actually good entrenchment, which is very good for defense, especially because your tanks aren't going to be moving 100% of the time. And having the extra entrenchment majorly increases, so something like that actually might be good on your flame tanks, because if you give extra entrenchment to your already defensive divisions, you're in a very good spot. And we're going to try to increase reliability. Reliability is said not to matter, but we'll have at least something, especially because we don't want a lot of speed. Okay, so now we're just going to declare war on Romania. Take them out really quickly. The hardest part's probably going to be going through the mountains. We're just going to get some extra army buffs and all that. Really, it's just going to suck having low supply, and then them having actually a good amount of divisions being a bigger minor power. Unfortunately, the AI of my puppets is being really stupid, so I can't really go through the extra plains tiles. But yeah, I'm just going through the north, and yeah, their army's kind of just done. They're leaving divisions just in case I could try to have my puppet going, but for some reason the puppet isn't joining. And it's probably going to keep doing that. Parts of Iron is just like that at times. We've almost got max air XP, so we're probably just going to end up doing our air doctrine. We like aerial dominance, airspace, whatever. Just get that, and then probably flying artillery, because that gives extra damage, like the aerial one I did at the beginning. Then probably theater interdiction, that just helps with extra CAS and logistics. And then probably end up carpet bombing, just because that does more damage for strategic bombers, if I end up ever using those. And then with the army, there's not a lot of great stuff. Probably end up doing mobile recon and assault, because that just gives a bunch of bonuses to what I'm already using. and it gives organization to light tanks, which is something I am using a lot of for almost all of my divisions. Alright, now we're going to get loyalty to the Fua. I really like keeping with Hitler. Hitler can be very strong just as a leader. And then we're about to take Romania, I believe. Yeah, they're almost dead. We just need Budapest, whatever. It's different names in Europe. Who cares? Other than all the Europeans. Europeans are really interesting at times. Anyways. Oh, okay, so now we're going to end up taking care of Yugoslavia. Yeah, it's pretty easy. They've got a really long border, so it actually helps us, especially because we still have a lot of divisions, and we're going to have less supply issues because we have them more spread out. Probably not going to go for naval, like, armored that I was looking at, because we just have Marines, of which we can just make Marine divisions, and they'll work just fine. Personally, I like just big blobs of Marines because it gives significantly more boost into damage when you're doing naval invasions, and then just having a lot of standard stats. Something like this definitely helps you a lot. We don't have enough XP to really do as much as we want, but it helps. Unfortunately, with Yugoslavia, Croatia is formed from where Hitler, so we're just going to justify on them just to make it look better, because having the random pink blob doesn't feel very good at all. So we end up getting that pretty quickly too. Alright, so now we're going to actually have our Coast Guards be out. We're going to do this guy. I always use him for a Coast Guard. He's good on defense, and he's just good with infantry, which infantry should be your defense. We're just going to end up bordering probably a lot of Italy. We're probably going to end up trying to take out that, like, Canada invasion of 2 divisions. Alright, well, now we're just going to take out Croatia. You know, get it all done. Yeah, they were even quicker than Yugoslavia. Granted, they're much smaller and we can get a surround on them. They're pretty much just a little bit of islands. We're going to make sure we get extra oil too. And then, unfortunately, it's being really stupid. But, yeah, we'll just do the peace deal. Hey, there we go. All done. Yeah, there's not much more we can do. We're probably going to try to take out Bulgaria. And then we're actually going to need Italy too. Alright, so we got the improved heavy tank, so we're just going to pretty much do the exact same thing. We don't have a lot of research into anti-air, anti-tank, so we're not going to have a lot of very good heavy equipment. Once we get better artillery, we'll be able to get a little bit more soft attack stuff, which is very important against AI. Hard attack is good in multiplayer PvP, but it is what it is, and we're just going to kind of ramp this thing up, make it as good as we can. Actually, I couldn't even get the XP to build the tank, so probably not going to end up. But we're going to get Bulgaria either way. Yeah, just getting the air, getting the cast. Their planes are just going to all die instantly to our massive fighter force. And gone just like that. Okay, so we're going to be a really big bad guy, and I kicked Italy out of the faction. I'm going to justify war goal. Yeah, we're not going to be able to go with them right away, or go with attacking them, because we've got like a peace treaty for a little while. So we're just going to end up having to wait. But yeah, I think just taking over Italy would be worth it. Alright, so now we're done waiting the time. We got all of our armies over in all of Italy. We're just going to declare war on Italy. Make it so that they end up just having to do a bunch. We're going to actually increase the size of one of our puppets. And then, yeah, that's about it. We just need to take that little part of Italy just to make sure that we get that really big Balkan, gosh darn it, they're so similar named. Yeah, we're gonna end up just taking out all of Italy really quickly. Nothing better to them. Oh no, our cipher, the cipher that we don't even have. Probably actually gonna look at that, hold on. Probably gonna need to actually get one. There we go. And then yeah, we're building a bunch of Navy dockyards just so we can build up an actual Navy. Considering that I don't think our Navy has been going very well against them. And then we're just going to build a bunch of mills after. Nice, yeah, we just pretty much walked right through Italy. We're more into Italy than we are into the French coastline, of which Italy somehow managed to control. And then we're going to get ready for Greece, potentially. We're just going to keep an army down there. I know what could end up needing to happen, considering that normally Italy's supposed to go after them. Okay, yeah, we're just kind of taking through. Now they split up into 2 governments, and we get the peace deal. Peace deal's probably going to be kind of hard because Britain's going to get a lot. I'm going to kind of fight them. We're going to see how it ends up going for me. Okay, this is about how it's going. I think we're just going to have to pass here. We're not going to get everything we want, but we end up getting, actually quite a lot. Yeah, just take more parts of France back, and then we can just end up taking probably Vichy France over. Okay, so we can't take our puppet because it's a puppet, and I just realized that. But then also we're going to take out Serbia. Serbia ended up kind of escaping and becoming free from the British, or by the British. So we're just going to take them out pretty quickly before they can even join the Allies. And then we've got a couple of other small guys to take out. Okay, so now we're done with this war justification. And yeah, they're dead before they even can do anything. They don't even have an army. This is the kind of stuff that you kind of have to deal with in White 4, but whatever. Just gone. We reduce consumer goods with the different taking golds. So I ended up sending my fleet out before, and I kind of really failed. So we're just going to end up having to rebuild a lot of it. It's just pretty much the old stuff, and then a couple newer destroyers, which isn't much. We're going to end up trying to make a actual heavy attack ship, just so we can have good ability to be able to deal with their heavy ships. We're just going to probably end up making something quite nice. Okay, so we ended up getting a naval invasion in Sicily. Not much to really worry about. Just them ending up naval invading. It'll be whatever. We'll take them out, get 3 divisions killed. Okay, so actually here is the design. I was looking at my other cruiser that was made more for light attack. We're going to end up just decking this battleship out with lots of heavy guns, just to make sure that we're doing a lot of heavy damage. These things will be very few in number, but they're going to hit hard when they hit. We're going to make sure that they're actual battleships and they're really good with just heavy attack to make sure that we're wrecking and at long range on their big ships. And then we're just going to make a couple groups of them indefinitely. And now we're going to just declare war on Serbia, if we can actually get them to attack, because our puppet is being really stupid again. We are paused right now, but I mean, I'm just trying to get this figured out, because I'm trying to make the armies a little bit different. But once you make the big groups where it's multiple commanders under one field guy, it just adds them to the field guy, which is a really annoying thing. Okay, so I've kind of just given up on the Serbia issue. They're just not letting themselves die. Or, well, I guess I suppose it's my puppet's fault. Now we're just going to get the naval invasions in order for all of Norway. We got our Marines, and we just had the same division template. I didn't really change it. I don't know I have the XP, but whatever. We're just going to try to get those 3 different tiles. And then we're actually going to make a separate naval invasion, of which is going to be in the port to the left. Let's see. Okay. Maybe we could try... I don't know if I like that. We should probably try, clicking on the tile to the right of it, and then, yeah, we can get all those. We're going to have 2 naval invasions going in, a bunch of divisions, take their capital and a very important port, and we can just go from there. And actually, yeah, they're deciding to die now. Yeah, gone. Sweet. So now we're actually going to kind of design-ish the tank division about what it's going to be. It's going to have a bunch of mechanized, because mechanized is objectively better than motorized. Mechanized just has more stats and armor, which allows you to do far more, far quicker. And mechanized is about a better pace with tanks. They have lower speed at the cost of their stats, but it ends up working out. And we're just going to have a bunch of mechanized, and we're going to probably add the heavy tanks in. And then we're going to have a lot of mechanized. We're going to have a 3x3 block at least. I like really big divisions. I don't really like going for the whole meta. Having a bunch of really good, or a couple really good divisions just to push through that end up having significant stats just makes me feel a little bit better. And I have been building a lot of mechanized, so might as well put it all to use rather than having a massive stockpile when I could be having more divisions, or at least bigger ones. Alright, so we ended up doing a focus, and we ended up getting Nationalist Spain as a puppet. And you can do this kind of for free if you decide to go. It's kind of by like the marginal focus, and then you can just lower their autonomy. I'm just kind of looking at what I can do for getting resources for free. There's not a lot, and I think you have to get them really degraded before you can even have them give you resources, which is what I'm after, because I need a lot of like tungsten and oil and all that. With the newest update, you need to have something called like naval dominance or whatever in the sea zone for you to be able to do a naval invasion. Well, I guess you always needed that, but they made it a little bit different. Okay, I'm just gonna get my planes over, and I'm really gonna get ready to invade Norway. Norway can either be a fairly easy task, or it can end up just being a really drawn out, long, bloody, low supply waste, really. So yeah, we're just going to try to make sure that we have as much power as we can when we make the landing and get as much as we can in the initial steps so that the Allies have least time to try to protect Norway. Okay, so now we're going to declare war. Get the Marines going out. Something really important. When doing naval invasions, oftentimes you're going to want to force attack. What force attacking does is it makes it so that they only take strength damage rather than org damage. The org damage allows them to just be in the fight, and you're gonna very, very, very commonly run out of org far before you run out of strength. So it's a good trade-off, and once they start attacking, they pretty much don't stop. And it's for a limited time, it's for about a week, but when a week without losing org when the enemy is as well is very strong. Then once again, we need to make sure that we have our navy out so that we can deal with the enemy subs, and then we can have our main navy deal with any of their cruisers, destroyers, battleships, whatever. Typically, the British won't intervene in Norway in the Strait here because they fear going into a strong navy. Not that I've proved that to them, but that's just how the AI thinks. We've made a pretty nice landing. We're just going to get the army over now that we're going to have a port, and we're going to push right to the top because that is exactly where we're going to have to go to capitulate them. Something really nice you can do if you have special forces or like stuff like Marines, and you have a separate breakthrough, you can just have them leave from a port, and then you can have the Marines go into a separate attack while you have all of your main infantry, like I have on the right, going out and doing a lot of the work. Then you can just take out the small insignificant parts with your Marines, connect the line up, have multiple ports, and completely destroy the enemy. And see, we're taking right through Norway. They actually surrender a lot longer. They take longer to, capitulate than a normal country of their size would, simply because their VPs are so spread out. And we're going to also start with just trying to make sure that the Soviet Union ends up having a big spy network on them. We want to make sure that we were very much spied on them, because we want to know exactly what we're going to end up be doing with them, and we want to make sure that their ability to defend themselves when we attack is very low. That's why I think that getting the spy DLC is actually one of the best things you can do. Although I would get the one of which that allows you to get designing planes and designing tanks first. And I believe you can design Navy almost by themselves now that they got rid of the DLC for being able to have Navy upgrades done. Now we're just going to try to get some resources, we need a lot of tungsten and stuff, especially for all of our heavy tanks that we're making. Okay, so now we're pretty much done with Norway. We just got a couple little small points here, and then I think we got the north. It's kind of annoying. Once you get in these mountainy kind of tiles, and even at like 5 times speed, it also slows down once there's more divisions of the enemy. And this isn't even bad because it's only like 1941, and we've taken out a lot of people that would have a lot of divisions. So there's that. Also, we're wasting resources, so we just start working more mechanized. But yeah, we just got the very top. We've got to take out that very top capital. And then we're going to just start kind of preparing, keep naval people ready. Maybe even naval invades Stalingrad. That could be pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're going to end it off here to fight the Soviets next time. Have a good day, all. Yeah, talk to you guys in the next one.